Hello, in this video we're going to set up a Stripe payment gateway to Gravity Forms so that we can sell something on a Gravity form and get a payment in Stripe. First thing we're going to do is we're going to install the extra plugin that's required for Gravity Forms to connect with Stripe. So if we go up to the add-ons section on the Gravity Forms menu, you'll see the Stripe add-on. So you need to install and then activate that add-on. As you can see, mine has been installed and activated. Now that means if I go to my forms, I have one here called Pay to Subscribe. And if we edit it, we can see that I have a credit card form here. Now I'll show you how I got that. It's very easy. Once Stripe is activated, in the pricing fields you will find a Stripe card button. You just click on that and it's added to the list. How does Stripe know how much to pay? Well, because I've got a total field in here. The total field is being driven by a product field. The product field has a price of £1 and I have the quantity disabled, so you can't actually change the quantity. It's one item, £1. So we'll update that, and now we have the credit card in there. And if we go to preview, we will see that things don't work exactly as we expect yet because we're not connected. So I can put my name in and I can hit submit, but there's no credit card information there because I haven't connected Gravity Forms to Stripe. And that's what we're going to do next. It's relatively easy, but I suggest one little trick is to log in to Stripe first before you start the process, which is what I've done here. So here I am logged into my Stripe, and I'm not going to hide these API keys because I'll be changing them at the end of the video, so don't bother writing them down. We have some keys here, and what we need to do first is go back. Now we know that's running, we'll go back into Stripe. And we get there from Gravity Forms by going into the settings, and in the settings there's a section called Stripe, so I'll click on that and you can see that I have some information here connected up. This is what we are looking for. This is our final resting place. We have connected to Stripe as, and that'll be the name of your business. You will have a field in the test signing secret, and you have a field in the live signing secret added to. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove it all by installing the add-on, and it's been now taken away. So now I can show you how you get that process to work. Click on the add-ons, and remember I said it needed to be active, so you need to activate the Stripe add-on. Give it a few seconds to initialize, and there we are, we've initialized. So again we can go back into forms and settings again, and we click on the Stripe, and this time it's going to be empty. So you can see we've got test secret, live secret, nothing in it now. We've got our mode, which we can swap between test and live. We'll start in test, that seems intelligent to start with test. And we need to connect with Stripe. But before we're going to connect with Stripe, let's just see exactly what we're expected to do. If you click on the Learn More, you get a little pop-up button. No, wrong one, sorry. This one, View Instructions. Pop-up button shows you what you need to do. So we're going to click on the link, and we're going to go to Stripe's page, Webhooks, which will be taken to automatically. We'll need to give it the URL here. Now what Webhooks is the way that Stripe talks back to our Gravity Forms website. So this is the URL which we are going to copy and we are going to give to Stripe. So when Stripe has finished a transaction, it can send a message back to our website, independent of whatever the user's done. If the user's closed down the page, it doesn't matter. Independent of that, this is a webhook so that Stripe can talk back to our site. So we'll copy that, and notice that we should choose the latest API version and receive all events. So we will now connect with Stripe. We'll click the button, and the Gravity Forms is now going to ask for authorization from Stripe to talk to Stripe on our behalf. And you see I've logged in, so that makes life easier. So I just say I want it to connect to that account. It's now going to have a conversation between the two sites, and for security purposes it's going to expect us to log in again, so I will log in again. And we have sort of done this once, but it's not enough. Let's go and do some more. Let's go into that link that it said in the view instructions, which is account webhooks. So I'm going to go to account webhooks, and this is where I have my information. This is the information which I put in last time, which is what works. I'm going to delete it and show you how I did it. So I'm adding an endpoint. That's an endpoint for Stripe to get back to us in their website. So I'm pasting in that link which I took from that little pop-up box. I'm going to put a description here. Okay, might as well have it spelt correctly. Why not? Version, we were told to take the latest, so we'll take the latest. Now it says select events to connect to. We were told to collect all the events, and you get that by pressing the button down here, which then lists all the events that we can have. So we have our endpoint, we've got a description, we have asked the latest API, and we've selected all events. We can now add the endpoint. Wonderful. But you notice that says enabled and it says it's live. So this is the live version. I can now click to reveal the secret key. I can copy that. I'll flip over to the other side, close that down, and this is the live one, so I'll put it in the live box. I got a bit confused by this. Where is our test information? Well, we need to flip this little button over here, view test data. Before I do that though, let me just make sure that I don't need to save anything. No, everything's fine. So I'll click the button over, and I can say view all items in test mode. Now again, I now want this experts who. You see it's enabled and in test mode, and I want the signing secret again. So this time I take that one, and that should be different to the one before. I wasn't looking, so I don't remember. I'll paste that in as my test mode. Now this little box here, I've enabled Gravity Forms webhook. Well, I've done that, haven't I? Because that's here. So I can tick that box, and I can say update settings. I'm pretty sure that I've done it all correctly, but there's only one way to find out. We're in test mode, so we are safe. There's not going to be any money changing hands anywhere at the moment. So let's go into our forms, and the first thing we'll do is go to preview, pay, subscribe. Let's see if that card thing is there. It isn't. We need to go into here and now into Stripe for this form. We've not told Stripe that we want to use it, so let's do Stripe settings. We're going to be in test mode, update our settings. Let's go around the circle again. Forms, settings, Stripe. And it's saying we're not configured, so what have we not done? Test mode, oh we got to reconnect. I find you have to connect twice to get this to work. Probably because I've put the keys in now, and therefore it's going to connect better. So I need to log back in as I come back to verify I am who I am, which is a very sensible thing for the system to want to do. And we've not connected. So we'll do it again. Why do I have to keep doing it around in circles? I don't know. Okay, that time it's worked. So we've got connected to Stripe as Expert Sue. So we have a connection between both ends. We've got the secret codes for the signing. We've got the jump back webhook as well. So I'm now feeling that I can update settings and things are now working. So we seem to have done it 3 times, but it doesn't matter because it now works. We go into settings and Stripe, and it says we've not configured a feed, let's create one. It's not telling us Stripe's not working, it's just asking us for a feed. Because it's possible to have different types of feeds going into one Stripe account, we'll just say this is our simple payments. Just give it a name. Want to know what transaction it is? Is it a subscription or a product? Well, this is a product or service. It's not saying leave because we want to leave, it's saying leave because it wants to save the data, so just let it save the data. And you can see that the Stripe box now has completely changed. So we've got the name of the product, the products and services. Remember we had form total, so form total is where the payment amount is being stored. We're being told that we should add address to the Stripe thing, which we should really. We should add the Stripe address details to our form so we collect the address properly. If we're going to raise a proper invoice, we should really fill that information in. Do I want to send a receipt? No, we can't really because we're in test mode. We don't want any metadata, but you might do. You might want to add an invoice number, a URL, and you might want some metadata to go between you and the systems to connect it. Otherwise, we're done, so we can just update settings. Now we go to preview and things get better. There we are. There is our name, our product, our value, and our credit card number. Now I happen to know that when you're in test mode, you can use 4242424244 until you run out of digits as a test credit card details. And after that, it doesn't actually matter what you put in the expiry date as long as it's ahead of the date. CV code, again, it doesn't matter. And because 42424 is an American test card, I need to put a zip code even though I'm in the UK and I should be putting postcodes. So 50210, isn't it? And I can put a name of a card holder. It doesn't matter what I put, as long as I've got that test card details in, I can now hit submit. It's now going to talk to Stripe. So if this works, even though it's test mode, it's proving that our web page can talk to Stripe and get a reply back. There's my standard answer back saying thank you for contacting us, so that's good. So I'm going to close that window because that's the preview window. What I can do now is I can look at the entries in my pay to subscribe, and look what's happened. Entries has now got sales in the columns as well. So I have an entries tab here telling me that I've done a payment of £1, and I can go to the sales and I can see that the sales have made a sale of £1. Done 2 orders today. I've only got 1 to go through, so that's £1. So I have successfully made a transaction with Stripe. Okay, so what happens when I want to take real money? When I want to take real money, what I need to do is come out of test mode, and that's quite easy. Go into settings and go to Stripe, and now go from test to live. Gonna have to reconnect and go through the loop again, but I can connect with Stripe. Don't need that. Connect up again. Now I'm connecting to Stripe in live mode, so there's a communication between the two sites to confirm it is now. Oh, I failed to get into live mode, that's a shame. Let's try again. Save that first. And there we are. I am connected to Experts Who in live mode apparently. So how do I know I'm in live mode? Well, the easiest way to do is to go and do a transaction, but you don't have to do a complete transaction to really prove that you've got a connection, which I haven't yet at the moment. You can just go through and put an invalid card number. If the card and Stripe, put a card number in and put a different expiry date, a wrong expiry date, as long as you have a valid number, the Gravity Forms will talk to Stripe, and then you'll know that you've got a connection that's working, because you'll get an error message back from Stripe. The ultimate way, of course, is to then spend some money. But let me just let you have one last secret, which caused me problems earlier. If you want to do a transaction to see if it works, obviously you go on a really low number. But if you do a transaction of a penny, it will be rejected by the system, because Stripe's minimum payment is 30 pence in UK money. I don't know what it is in dollars. I expect it's probably in that sort of region as well. But certainly in the UK, if you do a transaction of less than 35 pence, it gets rejected. It's invalid, because that's the minimum. If you go into Stripe to find out why a payment is rejected, it will tell you that that's the reason. I did the diagnostics and it said that's the reason why. But that's how you do it. I'm sure there's a perfect way of doing this that doesn't mean you have to keep going around the loop 2 or 3 times to get it to work, but as far as I'm concerned, if I have to go a couple of times round to make sure all the figures are correct and it works, then for me that's still a success. So thank you very much for your time, and good luck with the striping. Just like to add a little addendum to my video. When I did a test transaction, I used a valid card and I put an invalid CVV code, and I expected the payment to be rejected. The payment was not rejected. I went into the entries and I could see that the payment was taken, and I put in a valid postcode, as I said, an invalid CVV code. The transaction was passed. So I do suggest that you do check what your level of acceptance is at Stripe, because you may consider that having a invalid CVC code would be reasons for you to reject the payment. But I just leave that as a side for you to consider. Again, happy striping.